Hello, brethren and guests, and welcome to the District 8 Freemasons of Washington Roundtable Discussion, a casual conversation around Freemasonry. It is important to note that our thoughts and opinions are our own and do not reflect those of the Grand Lodge of Washington, our respective craft, or any concordant bodies. All right, welcome back, brethren, to this week's issue of the District 8 Roundtable. Tonight, we're going to be having a discussion with the newly elected Junior Grand Warden, this guy. Just an open forum conversation about things that you think need to change at Grand Lodge, things you think are good at Grand Lodge, ideas, thoughts, things that I can write down and try to take forward over the next 4 years. For some of you, you've seen me around during the district meetings talking about a lot of the things that I believe in is we need to focus more on the internal aspects of the lodge and mentorship and things to that nature, because I think that there are we have a tendency to get too focused on outside of the lodge, and we're not focusing enough on the internal, and things start to crumble on the inside. And without a strong base on the inside, all the stuff that we're doing on the outside eventually isn't going to be around anymore. I believe strongly in our ritual that most of the lessons, if not all of the lessons that we need to learn and teach, are in that ritual, in that standard work. So that's why I was excited to be the grand lecturer last year. And Aaron, congratulations on that. So yeah, I guess with that, anybody, let's hear what you have to say.
Yeah, hey, thank you, right, Worshipful. I'll jump right in there real quick. So hey, one of the thoughts that I've been having, and this is during our current condition, environment that we're working in. So throughout the jurisdiction, we've have brothers at various stages of degree work. When can we get back to mentoring these brothers? And has the Grand Lodge been talking about something like this? For example, I'll use Steve. He's ready to go to his second degree. Prove up and get his second degree. We can't do anything. We're in it, and I understand it's not an easy question to answer, and it's contingent upon a lot of different variables out there. But we got to be careful not to lose these brothers. I mean, we get them started and they're all motivated, and then all of a sudden, out of our control, it gets cut off. Anyway, so those were my questions. Is Grand Lodge talking about that? Is that something that's out there that's being talked about?
Yes, we are talking about that, and there will be further guidance coming from the Grand Master, hopefully within the next week. Some of the things that we have talked about is, how can Zoom fit into all of this, or not necessarily Zoom, but, any kind of electronic media. And when it comes to stated meetings and degree work and esoteric work in big formats, that's just not something that we're ready to do or willing to do. But, mentoring one-on-one with a brother, whether it's by phone, whether it's by electronic media, I think in the last edict that the Grand Master sent out, he said that was okay. We've talked about how we're going to move forward. And again, there will be further guidance coming from the Grand Master, but we've talked about, do we have to wait until everybody in the state is in phase 3, where you can meet with 50 people or less? Or do we go county by county and let the lodges follow the county guidelines? So there is a lot of those discussions going on, and the final decision I don't believe has been made yet. But hopefully we've got another meeting Tuesday. I think he wanted to get something out before that, but I'm not 100% sure. But it's definitely something we've been discussing. So right now, for instance, in Snohomish County, we're in phase 2 in Snohomish County, and that allows groups of 5 or less to meet. So, we've had discussions at the Grand Lodge level about, can we therefore allow groups of 5 Masons to meet and go over, esoteric work in a face-to-face format rather than electronically. And that's the decision that we're working on right now.
Okay, thank you for what I did here, because my internet
I saw you
froze up,
freeze.
and I had to log back in. So, but yeah, thank you for that. And I'm glad that they're talking about it. And I feel that that's something that we at least need to pay a little attention to it and do what we can to keep our membership growing.
Yeah, and we are talking a lot about it. Every time we talk, it comes up, and
Good.
it's just difficult to.
We're in between a rock and a hard place on this. I mean, what do
Yep.
you do?
Yep. So part of it that you probably didn't hear is we're talking the 2 things that we're really talking about is whether or not to wait until the entire state is in at least phase 3, or if we go county by county and let them, if the county is in phase 3, then can they meet in phase 3? So those are the discussions we're having, and we're hopefully going to have a decision early next week from the Grand
So what
Master.
I heard there was those counties that are in phase 3, those lodges are going to be pretty crowded on our meeting night, because we can go to their.
And that's exactly why the discussion comes up, because if we open up, say, Spokane County is in phase 3 and open up the meeting for them, the guys that are not in Spokane County, should they go there? It's they shouldn't. And so we and I think the decision that will come out will be, look, you use common sense. Go by the county guidelines and use common sense. So there will be further guidance hopefully coming out soon.
Good. Thank you, sir.
Yep. Anyone? Oh, come on.
Okay. I'll ask you the tough question that the brother and I had a little text discussion on.
Okay.
If this continues the way that the University of Washington study is, then we're going to go back and have a relapse. And this again, is there talk with Grand Lodge about how to do lodge elections and installation of officers with the lodges over the winter?
Yes. Along the same lines with Dean about having the different meetings, we've talked about essentially taking what we did at Grand Lodge and putting out guidelines and information on doing similar to that at local lodge levels. Again, we got to get everything all put together, all the right documents together, but there is more guidance on that hopefully coming soon, because I know there's some lodges that do their elections in the summer months, and so we're trying to get these decisions made before that happens.
It'd be interesting if the Grand Master would come out with something that would say that dispensation to not do in our installation, because I think all of ours is in November and December, right? Here in District 8 or thereabouts. Putting them off for a couple months. I mean, if we're not meeting, we're not meeting.
Right.
You're not doing anything. So if you hold the title for a couple more months, the next guy, he's going to have a shorter year, but I mean, I guess there's options, but yeah, look forward to hearing something back on that.
Yeah. And
Mike,
again,
that's a
these
good
are
question.
exactly the conversations we're having. So
Well,
Good.
and should the 2020 Masters carry over into 2021? Because if we can't meet through the rest of this year, like Worshipful Brother Mike, how many stated meetings did you have? 2, 3?
It's
Mike, he
3
said
and
you get,
1 degree.
Mike, he said you got to earn that title.
So,
Uh,
there's a lot of things. Each new master goes in with hopefully things they want to accomplish, and they haven't been able to accomplish them this year, and that's a shame. Uh, we
and you know,
want,
that's an option that we have not brought up, and I will bring that up at our next XCOM meeting, that, you know, maybe we should consider that as, maybe not make it a mandate, but make it an option.
So I know our OES, sorry about my dog. I know our OES chapter has done that. They've kept it in place for another year because we were never able to meet since COVID hit after they were installed.
Yeah, I think that there were a lot of organizations that did that, that just carried everything over. And, you know, Grand Lodge, we made the decision not to do that for Grand Lodge, but, you know, that doesn't mean that it's off the table. So we can look at that.
I mean, I would like to see it continue. At the same time, I would like to see a worshipful master, both my worshipful masters, have their time at Lodge. Then again, in 4 years, if I'm elected to be worshipful master, I was hoping that you would be able to install me. So if we delay all that.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting how things work out. You know, the lady that is the associate grand conductress for Eastern Star, who will be going up through the line and be, you know, worthy grand matron, is a good friend of mine that lives over in Edmonds. And she asked me potentially about, you know, running for the line in Eastern Star. And I said, well, you know, I can't do that because I'm making myself available for Grand Lodge. Well, as it turns out, because now everything in their world is bumped back a year, so she will be in the East as worthy grand matron at the same time I'm in the East, presumably, if elected, right, Larry, as Grand Master. So it worked out, you know, that we'll both be in the East at the same time, but just in different organizations. It's weird how things work out.
Question for you, Right Worshipful.
Yes.
So you and I have had many discussions over the years, but especially over the last year and a half, 2 years, about leadership. And we've talked about coaching, we talk about mentoring, and the differences thereof. And one topic that you and I talk about quite a bit is, how do we develop leaders? And how does the leadership conference help develop leaders? In a couple of years, you'll be literally back in charge of it again, of the leadership conference. And current format that you set up years ago works great, but how are we developing leaders? And what's your thoughts kind of moving forward?
Well, I feel like there was a gap in mentors and leaders before, you know, before 2000, before the 90s probably. And there was a lot of, from my experience only, this, you know, this is just coming from my experience. I didn't feel like we had a lot of those leaders and mentors when we were coming up. And so we missed out on a lot of the stuff. You know, the one thing that when I first became master, the one thing that I hated the most was when I would ask somebody for advice or opinion, and the only answer they would give me is, "It's your will and pleasure, worshipful master." And to me, that's a cop-out. That's not teaching somebody. That's not mentoring somebody. And so I think that we have to do better at providing that leadership and providing that information to those that ask us. And I think that that will help with the overall mentorship and the overall leadership of our fraternity. Is it's up to us to make that change, to make things better. And I think the Lodge Leadership Retreat, I think that I haven't been since I was chairman, but I've heard that it's still doing well, that it's doing good things. And the guys that come out of that, you know, Mike, Fred, you guys talked a lot about it when you came out of that training. And I think it's a valid training still, and are there things that need to be tweaked? Probably. But I think that's true with everything. When you get something good working, you want to keep doing that, but you have to be willing to make changes when necessary.
When Most Forceful Brother Sam was deputy in District 8, he got a hold of, from the Midwest, the Exceptional Lodge Leader Program. And it is a course for leadership, different modules. And I took his printed copies and scanned them and ran them through OCR. So I've got them electronically. And should we, as a district, look, and it's separate than what's covered at the retreat, but should we as a district look at developing leadership skills within our lodges?
My answer, absolutely.
I think just about everybody who went through it was Sam, and Steve Wandell was his co-instructor. I went through it, but I can't recall many others who did. And
Yeah, I don't
think
I did.
No.
So Jim,
Oh.
a quick question. Was this like a correspondence course or?
No, it was a reading lesson, you know, go read this. And it's been how many years since I've looked at it
It was
closely.
Saturday meetings, right? We had Saturday meetings. So I think it was, so a lot of times it was after SLC, wasn't it?
My recollection, it was like Sunday afternoons. It could have been,
You're right.
like you say,
It was,
Andre.
it was Sunday afternoon, right?
And so it's modules, you know, on different aspects of leadership. And I'd be happy to dig up, I think I have a table of contents or a syllabus somewhere. And I'd be happy to share that.
Sam,
Absolutely. I'd love to see that. And in
Andre?
fact, I'll ask Sam for his too.
Well, Sam had a hard copy. He
Okay.
didn't have it electronically. But
if you give me a hard copy, I'll come to electronic.
no, I did that. I ran the printed copies and optical character recognition. I did that and corrected it, and so I've got that available.
Patrick,
Yeah, I'd like to get.
did you have a question? I kept seeing you raise your hand a little bit. No? Okay. Go ahead, Dean.
Yeah, Jim, if you could send that out, I'd like to see that. That's something that yeah, let's not let that go to the wayside, because I agree. Yeah, that's something we can work on.
You know, and
all of it.
it's frustrating when you put something out to, I don't know how many Masons in the district, couple hundred at least, and you get 3 or 4 show up, and it is a commitment. And of course, the faces we see on the screen are those who are committed, and you know they'll be there. But I don't want to lose it, and I've said it before that we do need to develop leaders, and before they get to the east, I think the leadership retreat gives tools and perhaps not as many skills. Am I wrong there?
No,
I'm
I
wrong.
think that's accurate. No, that's
Mike-
accurate. Mike Delaney's like, yeah, you're wrong. Yeah.
No, Jim's right. It gives you the tools to get you to the east and keep you so you don't fumble as bad as you could have without any training. But the leadership skills, basic leadership skills, aren't part of that course. Whether it's just organizing stuff or planning, which isn't there other than budgeting. There's a course on budgeting at the Lodge Leadership Retreat.
Well, Jim, if you could get me a copy of what you got, I would like to work with our district deputy to maybe come up with a program. You know, just so that we could throw it back out to this group and maybe
use the resource team so the burden doesn't fall on one or two people.
right.
So Andre, I know you've been trying to say something and your sound keeps cutting out. So why don't you go ahead and try again here?
Me now.
I think you've got your internet doesn't seem to be working real good.
No, it doesn't. I'll just be quiet.
No, we can hear you now.
We can hear you now. How about,
Oh, yeah,
I don't want you to be quiet.
I was just saying that I don't think a skill is something that can be taught or comprehended by session at least. Skill is something you practice and develop and get an exercise in doing it in order to make it real and make it a part of your skill set. And I'm not sure how you do leadership over a period of time, like leadership classes where you get an opportunity from one class to the next to practice something like creating a communications plan for your lodge, or just as an exercise, and put together a memo on how you'd write it, those kinds of things. That's how you develop the skill, I think.
Right.
I'm done now.
And Andre's right. Soft skills are so difficult to train. And it does take practice. But you need information in order to practice something. So,
well, and I know that I have to remind myself, Jim, I got frustrated when I was deputy and we put on the installation planning workshop and we planned on that and plan. And I think Mike Delaney was the only one that showed up. And you get frustrated because you do all that work and you're only helping one person, one brother. But you know what? We help that one brother.
yeah.
And I have to remind myself that it's not necessarily about the masses, because you can't force everybody there, but we can help the one that does show up.
And thank you all for the help.
Anybody else?
Well, Steve, if you ever step out of line, we'll get right back in there and get you back in line. So.
Oh, I have no doubt.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I was giving Larry a hard time at our Sultan Monroe meeting the other night. When the new junior Grand Warden gets elected at Grand Lodge, the first thing I do is send them an email from Sultan Monroe inviting them to the roast for their year. And I got elected and I never got an invitation. So there's no roast my year. So,
Well, what would we say?
But that's the roast. That's the ultimate roast.
We've been down this road on this discussion, right, Worshipful, a number of times already. Your date has been sent.
No, I
You got your
honestly,
invite.
honestly, I'm looking forward to it because, you know, not only, again, I know Larry, if I get elected,
Right.
uh,
Vote other, vote often.
it will be on my birthday and Star Wars Day all in the same day. So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Look at Mike.
Just remember, Steve, payback is fun.
Yeah, Charles, I don't think you got the invitation, did you? That's
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I just wanted to drop in and say hi and congratulations, Right Worshipful Brother Steve.
thank you, most worshipful. I appreciate the confidence that you had in me as Grand Lecturer, and I look forward to serving the craft for the next 4 years at least.
You'll do a great job, brother.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Aaron, have you got a plan for your competition? Is there do you need any help or anything, or?
Yeah. I think I'd like to meet up with you offline and kind of go over what you did. Going back to some of the ideas or some of the comments that folks had over my Masonic experience, there's been a lot of opportunities to attend education, like the Lodge Leadership Retreat. Norm Watts was my coach and mentor, and he used to do a retreat up at his place in Plain here, and a lot of the District 2 guys would come over, and that was actually kind of a precursor for the Lodge Leadership Retreat. And then, even little things like step up nights in Lodge, things like that just get the folks in your Lodge to push the envelope a little bit or get out of their comfort zone and do the next chair or the next role. I think all of it adds up, and that leadership quality gets developed. So I think the more tools there are out there, the better, because not everybody's going to take advantage of all of them. I was fortunate enough that I could do Lodge Leadership Retreat, in Pasco, and my lodge paid for it. They paid for the hotel and they paid for the meals and the registration. And so anything like that to get every opportunity, would be good. As far as the Grand Lecturer role, I did the competition when I was junior or senior warden, and I was encouraged to do it. I was encouraged to do the proficiency in lodge management, right, by my district deputy, and Thane was the one in charge of the competition when I did it over there at I think it was Verity Lodge.
Yeah.
But just all these opportunities that are available, they need to be taken advantage of. And if you're a beginning Mason, or if you're coming up through the chairs or coming up through the degrees, try to find somebody that will take you under their wing, like Norm did for me, and encourage the brothers to take these opportunities, because I think there's a lot out there.
Yep.
Even like the six steps, right? The 6 steps of initiation. Or a modified 6 steps, but all these tools are available, and then you might get the folks that are going to be the future leaders of your lodge. So my 2 cents would be, we all need to encourage the use of all of them, all of the tools that are available. Whether or not the brothers take advantage of them is ultimately up to them, but the more opportunities they have, the more they'll be able to pick and choose which one's right for them.
Excellent. Yeah, we can meet up anytime. Leavenworth is just on the other side of the hill from me. So
yeah. On the installation, I think Dean, you were asking about how do we do installation, how do we do degree work. in whatever phase we might be in. Chelan County, we have we have a lot of agriculture and a lot of hurdles to cross to get past our phases. So I don't know that we will this year, but Grand Lodge was able to do it, right? And we got officers installed. And so you think about that group of 5 or more, a group of 5, right? You know, maybe it's possible to still do installations where we wouldn't have to fill the role for 2 years. You know, and again, if we're phase 2 or phase 3, then I think phase 3 would be free and clear. But if Grand Lodge was able to do it, which I watched it on Facebook, and everybody for the most part social distanced, and except a couple handshakes, a couple hugs, but for the most part they did a good job.
I'll have to go watch the video again. Yeah, you know, it's really hard to, you know, we've been apart for so long. We did our best. We did our best. That's all I can say.
You know, old habits are hard to break, and when the moment's there, you forget about everything else because it's just all about relationships and friendship and love.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they caught us on video. What are they going to do? Throw us in jail?
But we've talked about that also, about how we could do possibly local lodge installations in even a phase 2 environment, and there are ways that we can do it. So I think that the XCOM over the next couple of weeks, we'll be talking more and more about it, and maybe we come up with 2 or 3 options. You know, not this is the way you got to do it, but hey, this is the way that we can do it and still maintain the county that you're in with their phase requirements and also the social distancing. I mean, I think we can do it. And there will be guidance coming forward. So Larry, your hand's up. Is that on accident or?
No, it is not.
Oh, okay.
I have a question for our grand lecturer.
Go ahead.
So, Brother Grand Lecturer, as you are very much aware, last year there were 2 new programs that were started, the individual and a team competition made up of Brother Master Masons of the same lodge. Is there any thought or can a brother suggest possibly a different team competition made up of brothers of a district and expand on that, so you actually have the junior deacons to do the floor work and kind of open it up to a district at this time? Because, you know, you may have a brother at this lodge, a brother at this lodge who are all really good, and I think that might be a fun competition, and you make that for just past masters only.
Yeah. I think everything's on the table, Larry. And for me, it would have been more fun to go to other lodges. We have our district's kind of spread out as far as we have Hermanos del Arte, which used to be up in Pateras, and all the way down now to Quincy. We have a very spread out. I mean, it could be 2.5 hours between lodges, but any opportunity to go meet with brothers and practice ritual, I think would have been fun. When I was raised, I was actually part of three brothers that were raised all at once, and we all were in separate lodges, but we came together at the Wenatchee Masonic Center and got raised. And it would have been cool to work with them, and not necessarily as past masters, but at the first step, you know, the individual competition or a team competition. I like that idea, just because you know, if we meet with other lodges and we brainstorm and we have these conversations that we're having right now, and you get other ideas about, you know, what's working for your lodge and what might not be working for one lodge might work for another. But I think everything's on the table. I haven't talked with Chris yet. We're planning on meeting either Monday or Friday next week, however it works out, or I might be we'll figure out how it works out. But Chris might have some ideas too. But I would look forward to implementing anything. I mean, it we don't want it to get stale, you know. So anything could make it just continuous improvement. You know, I mean, Steve did a great job. Unfortunately, I don't think we were able to have ours by the time the pandemic hit. But it can always have continuous improvement. I mean, everything can get better or grow, right? So keep the same format we have now, but add another option. You know, I like that idea, Larry. It's a good one.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool because I know, like in District 8, you know, we've been pretty fortunate to have the brothers that we have with their ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, you know, we have a couple of brothers who've taken it over the last few years, a couple of brothers that have come this close. And while the team competition's good, not every lodge could form a team.
Right.
But if you have a district one, then those particular brothers who missed it by this much could come together as a team and open it up to the junior deacons as well. So you have floor work and you have the ritual. And, you know, just like you would judge on the team or the traditional senior warden competition, you know, you do this with the whole team. So, you know, you get a point off if they grab their rods, the deacons grab their rods before the master gives them their command.
Yeah.
Which if you study the ritual, you're not supposed to touch it until after he gives you your little things like that. And I don't know. I see that as a way as promoting, you know, the floor work, especially among the past masters who, you know, we get sloppy, but a lot of us have to fill in from time to time, or we got to step into the line. So there's no gaps and let the younger guys take the time to develop. And I just think that'd just be a fun way to, you know, that we could bring districts together.
Yeah. No, I agree. And the floor work piece, you know, all the little the subtleties, right? You know, the way you turn the staffs and things like that, and the way you hold the staffs and things like that, unless they're reinforced by past masters, I don't, you know, I see it going away, and so that would be a shame. So to get those past masters involved that way would be good. I still remember when you say, you know, come this close, I was probably this far away because I actually ended up opening and closing twice because the Grand Master walked in. Don Monks was the Grand Master at the time, and you know, you're supposed to introduce him, and I didn't. So I'm closing lodge. I'm like, oh, there's Don. Okay, and so I opened lodge back up again and introduced.
I was one of your evaluators, Aaron.
Yeah, it was. Everybody was just shaking their heads, you know, but
Well,
it was a good experience.
I think that
my year, I lost it to Sam Ali. I skipped out a whole sentence of 6 words.
So my only
Cool with Larry's idea is if you have a team of past masters and stuff do this competition, then the winning team should be scheduled to do the open air degree the next year.
That'd be cool. If people wanted to do that, yeah. Or just bragging rights, right? I mean, it would be cool to the reward of being able to sit at the Grandmaster's table for his reception dinner. You know, that's gravy on top. But just bragging rights really would have been good enough for me. So maybe for our past masters, bragging rights, like, yeah, we rocked it, you know, and something to live up to for the guys coming up.
So just a word of caution from my experience last year is those competitions would be great and I would love to see them, but you got to remember you got to have time to actually do the competitions at the end of the year. And also, you know, the floor work, sometimes that can be hard to judge because floor work is in a majority of the floor work is in the lodge officer's handbook as suggestions, not as ritual. And there's a lot of lodges that do it a little bit differently. You know, the deacons, when you go and you're, you know, opening the great lights and checking with the Tyler, and some of them go equal distance at the altar. Some of them stay right at their chairs. And so there's some things there that just a word of caution. Don't forget those little idiosyncrasies with the different lodges.
Yeah, I think definitely you and I should have a mind meld on this and
Absolutely. Anytime.
oh, I took some notes, Lori. I'm taking notes actually throughout this whole thing. So
Excellent.
Thanks, Jim. I got the email.
All right. Anybody else? Who did we just lose? I hate that when somebody drops off and I can't figure out who it was.
Hey, Steve, I got to run, but it's good seeing you guys. Take care and be safe out there. And the Grand Lodge team that's in place right now is going to do a great job.
Most worshipful, thank you for a good year.
Thank you, brother.
Most
Take care,
worshipful
brother.
Lordy, thank you again.
Remember to keep sending me invites, Steve. And when I can, I'll come and join you guys. Love y'all.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
All right. All right.
Steve, I'm
So
going to check out now too. So it's good seeing you and congratulations and all that kind of good stuff.
thanks, Jim. If you see Susanna, say hey for me. Oh, she's up here now. She's up in the Bothell area. So if
Yes,
I
she
see her, I'll
is.
say hey for you. So that was for those of you that aren't aware of my background. You know, I was state rainbow dad in 2015 for the Washington, Idaho Rainbow Girls, and Jim's daughter Susanna was actually the Grand Worthy Advisor at the time. So she was my Grand Worthy Advisor. So the next meeting will be Andre's the one that dropped off. Now that I'm about to talk about him, he's the one. Next meeting on the 25th, next Thursday, Andre is going to be doing a presentation on the symbolic use of scripture in masonry. And Andre's talks are always good. He gives a good presentation, and then we'll have the open discussion afterwards. Again, that's 7 o'clock, the same link that you used for tonight. And with that, if you have a drink, go ahead and grab it. And we will do our toast to our absent brethren. And with that, I thank you all for coming tonight, and I look forward to serving you in this jurisdiction in the next 4 years.